Hello, everybody. Bridge Sky here. You're listening to Kiss Recovery 101. It is Sunday, 8 p.m. on the dot. And I'm a little nervous. We had technical difficulties. And during the podcast, well, thanks. But see, my tech assistant, Sally's here. During the podcast, we're like, oh, maybe we're reading it wrong and it's going to be fine. No, I re-listened to it. It was definitely glitches. So if you're listening, again, it's live for a reason. Please comment, say hello, ask questions, give your intake or your insights and your viewpoints on what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm so excited. So it's October, which is the 10th month of the year, which is perfect time to talk about Step 10. If you're familiar with the 12 Steps program, this is one of my favorite daily steps for myself, actually. And what Wally P., he wrote Back to the Basics, very, very life-changing book for myself, really states over and over, if you attend one of his workshops, is step takers, not meeting makers, make it. So I like that. He's just blunt with it. But it's true, you know. You can show up to hundreds of meetings, but if you're not actually working a program and, doing some steps, whatever steps you do, nothing's going to really change. You might have perfect attendance, but I don't know about internally what's really going on. So anyway, the point is, Jason B's back. He's our guru for the Back to Basics. And Jason, you want to say hi to the listeners tonight?
Hi, listeners. Is that good? Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Do you want to talk about Back to Basics?
Sure. So Back to Basics Bridge said, it's been seminal in her recovery. That's true for me as well. And I this last round of recovery has been completely different. And you got to excuse my voice. My voice is kind of gone. But it was important for me when I sobered up this last time and came crawling back after, one of those terrible ordeals. But I came back and about 4 or 5 months into this last bout of recovery, one of my sponsors gave me this book, and it was like, where has this been how come I haven't seen this in this 25 years or whatever? Well, it changed everything for me, and I knew I had to start, doing the thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I have for almost 8 years now, and it's been great. But yeah, it's fantastic.
Yes, and that's, old school. A lot of people are giving out these statistics. I saw it on YouTube. There's videos of why AA doesn't work and the 12 steps don't work. And, a lot of them were consistent on saying that, whatever high percentage it doesn't work for them. Well, here's why. They're not doing it how it was meant to be done. And what's great about Back to Basics is 4 1-hour sessions, right? How it used to be back in the day was you got through your steps. You got through those steps at least once pretty quickly, thoroughly, enough with whatever, coming in. I wasn't clear-minded or clear-headed. So what I could remember or process at that time is different. But you got through that before you started doing the meeting makers make it. You know what I mean? Then you actually could sit down, and again, you spend a lot of time just listening, but not talking, venting, and wasting everybody's time. No, just kidding. But I feel like that was key. So Back to the Basics also saved my life. I was in and out of the rooms for 17 years, and I found your meeting Tuesday nights at the Freely Alano, Back to Basics. And I was like, what is this, And I loved it. It was like, same thing for me. Like, why didn't I know about this? Why didn't I, it's a very simplified overview, but those simple points are the key, most important points.
Yes.
Okay, so 10, though. We could have, what we do when we do the 4 1-hour sessions is that last session is 10, 11, and 12. But I really wanted to spend this hour on 10. Because I tell you, okay, Jason, I know you're not on social media. I'm going to read what I posted out there. Oh, hello, Facebook user. Okay, the alarms are going to go off and remind us. So if this is your first time listening to this podcast, it's about an hour. 2 alarms will go off. Actually, 3, I think. 1 to remind me to interact so I don't get lost in this conversation here. And then another one is to a segment called the Hot Seat. 3, poor Jason. Every time So Jason doesn't get 3. He gets 3 every time he's come back here, okay? This is like, I don't know, the 4th or 5th time. You poor thing. So you get all these deep questions. Okay, but that's the hot seat. 3 deeper questions. And then the last segment, my favorite, is live Facebook memes. And throughout the week, I like to just screenshot my favorite memes and share them with somebody. And like live, this is live, so like Facebook or wherever you see memes, you can comment and your reaction, and just, I feel like some of them might get some really good insights anyway. Okay, so KISS Recovery 101. Okay, so the word inventory, right? That's in quotations. It means taking stock of our emotional disturbances, especially if we don't can return oh man, I gotta rewrite that. Okay. Especially so that we don't return to that escaping and numbing, those things, life on life's terms, right? There's always challenges. There's always barriers. Life's never going to be perfect. Instead of doing the why me thing, what I find is that, especially step 10, it allows me every day to sit down and look at my day and those things that are tougher, process, or sometimes right in the moment, process, and not let it build up or get resentful or, again, feel like I need to escape or numb myself. Okay, so it says taking a daily inventory is important to all people, but especially those of us in recovery. So maintenance steps. So I'll let you talk on this, but 10, 11, and 12 are known as those maintenance steps. And so what is a dry drunk? Are you ignorant and don't know it? Or worst of all, are you aware you're a jerk? This is a nice one. I want to say asshole, but I just said jerk. I don't want to scare anybody away. And don't care, You realize you're ignorant, but you're set in your ways. You're set in your way of thinking, this is the only way. Abstinence is the only way. This program's the only way. Spirituality, there's got to be this higher power. That's... And then they just sit in the room and they're just grumpy assholes all the time. And it sucks because they'll share some pearls, some wisdom. But again, especially if you're new, they're scary. So in one ear, out the other, because this guy's telling me how to live my life better, and he just seems like a jerk. So anyway, back to basics. Jason B, go ahead. Let's get into, let's say we're sitting in back to basics. Step 10. Go ahead. Take it away.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to back it up a little just so that I can come at it how I normally would in our back to basics sessions. And I'm not going to go through all the steps or nothing by any means. But the thing with the back to basics is, just like Bridge said, we work the steps. People who work the steps are the ones that make it. You can go to all these meetings you want. You can hang out with sober people and do all that stuff, and those are good. But if you don't do the steps, you don't stand a chance, because that's where it's at, and it's all right in the big book too. So back to basics, it's like a class. We need a class. We need direction. We come in here, we work on the steps, and we do it quickly. And people that you hear all this, just take your time, and whenever you're ready, bullshit. Mm-hmm. Do it, because we're great at procrastinating.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do. And we'll come up with a million excuses why we can't do it, or how we got to do it a different way or whatever, like we're some kind of different entity, and that's BS too. So, and I say this a lot, excuse my voice.
It's time of year.
But I was yelling a lot last night, which is good. But one of the reasons why, so there's 2 really big reasons why I love doing back to basics. There's a bunch of great reasons, but the 2 really big ones are that we try to get people past the fear of the 4-step, so in 1, we identify we have a problem. In 2, we become willing, it's all this open-mindedness and willingness. So we identify the problem. And you can't fix something unless you know what the problem is, right? So then in 2, we're just willing. In 3, we turn it over to our higher power, even if, we're willing to think that there could be a power greater than ourselves, even if it's our meeting. Then we do 4, which a lot of people stop right there and do the 3-step shuffle like I did for years. and it just kept me in this loop, this bad replaying loop of being okay and feeling good and then being drunk and high and whatever. So a huge reason why I love to do this, aside from the fact that then I have to keep reliving these steps and doing them over and over, which I love, is to take the fear away from the 4 steps. So we actually work on them in the room and we give examples, which I think is huge. I mean, I'd never seen this done anywhere else, and it's just great. And the power of that is phenomenal. But anyway, so the next big reason why we do this is we want people to live in step 10, which we're getting to right now. Because we do 4 right away, we got to do 5, so we're not sitting on this bad stuff. 6, we're entirely ready. 7, it's like we're there, and the thing about after you do 8 and 9, and then the 9-step promises start happening, is I call them the guidance steps, the 10, 11, and 12. But a big part of what we're trying to do is to have people live in that 10th step, because then you live in a healthy place, and it's not. And when you take this daily moral inventory, so step 10 says, let's say exactly what step 10 is. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. And so I like to always stress that taking a daily inventory isn't all about just finding all the bad shit you've done and what you've done wrong. It's good to notice where you have done well or done something good or right, But it's a great way to just be honest with yourself, and to really look over your day, which is good for your memory anyway, but go over your whole day and see how you've done in that respect, And when we're wrong, promptly admitted it. Well, if we always did this perfectly, we wouldn't have to come back and do another step 4. But, I'm in the middle of another step 4 right now. And I like it because resentments build up secretly, But it's a huge part of this program is, when you're living in step 10, you're not like the dry drunks that that Bridge was talking about when you live the program. And what I love, my voice is getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
What I love the most about this is I can be hanging out with people that are healthy. And if they're being an asshole, I can say, hey, man, you're being an asshole. And rather than us fist fighting, they can admit that, hey, I know this is. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's truly healthy and good living.
Okay, I want to know why you were yelling. But first, do you want to go get a little soda pop? Do you want?
No.
Okay. I feel bad. Are you in pain?
No.
Okay. Were you yelling for a good reason?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wardruna.
Okay.
This is a concert last night.
Concerts. That's the
State
best.
Theater.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of woo.
Yes, that's the best reason. Okay, as long as it's a good reason.
It was.
Hi, Martin. He says hi. He's the Facebook user. Okay, step 10. The word inventory threw me off for a long time. Taking the stock inventory. Like, I didn't get that. Okay. So what it lays out to be, so if anybody out there's like, what's this inventory? Again, it's for me, it's this wonderful self-reflection process to lay out the things and look at my day, like you said. So just in a day, step 10, right? It's not only to point out, oh, I could have did that differently. Oh, I could have, I meant to do this or meant to do that. It's not to beat myself up. So I remember, especially in my darkest days, really, really, really trying hard. I was really severely depressed. So I didn't realize. I mean, I could look back now and I could see that my body was just really off balance. But laying my head down at night, looking at my day, and at least making a point to point out one thing that was good. Okay? People call that gratitude. But for me, as simplified as I needed it to be, well, what was one thing that was good? Because I would have some really bad days. But just pointing out, okay, well, at least I got this done. Or at least I made this phone call. Or just something that was to be grateful for. But what I also like about, so I like the word inventory because if you think about it this way, right? If you've ever worked at a store, okay? Or just say you're organizing your pantry, okay? I like to organize my pantry and spice rack. It's weird, I know. That's something I like to do just when my world is chaotic. I can at least organize my pantry. I check expiration dates, right? So when I'm taking an inventory or at a store, you want to see what you actually have left, what you might need to get more of, right? What you might need to get rid of, okay? And so definitely, especially, and it's seasonal depression time, like mind you, if I'm waking up every day and I'm not having a good start, okay, I'm going to sit back and sit down and do my inventory and think about, okay, what are some things, first off, why am I not waking up happy to start my day or go to work or whatever? But what can I do to change that, and reflecting on, okay, I can find a solution here. So, yeah, I went to this amazing workshop. I think I told you about it. This woman, she does it online, just on step 10. I feel like I'm a little bit of a guru too on the steps now, Jason.
Nice.
So I'm like, well, what could she possibly, somebody specifically was like, Kim was like, Bridge, you need to go to this. She's wonderful. And I was like, okay, cool. I love hearing new things. Oh my gosh, it blew me away. So she literally had us go around the room in that moment and write down something that's been, weighing on our hearts or stressing us out, just something right now. Write it out, okay? Because what she'll have her spotsies do, though, when she works with them or when she mentors people, is keep a notebook and write out those things that, okay, so here's what the process was. So I wrote out my thing, and then she went around the room. So we each had to answer. It was 2 questions. The first one was, okay, looking at the situation, whatever's on your heart or in your head or bothering you or making you angry or whatever, what would it look like if your higher power came in on this? So I liked that because I was like, oh, so if my higher power was sitting next to me, what would their take be on it? It made me realize, okay, this is higher power, right? This is the all-wise, all-knowing. Yeah, they definitely would see it differently. And so I answered the question in the sense of, well, this is someone who is, better than me, or, smarter than me, why those better. This is how they would take on it, right? First of all, that opened my mind. Then the second question was, what can I do, like for someone else, or you can say for service, to right this wrong right now? So whatever's wrong or not working, or what can I do right now for someone else to right this wrong? It was beautiful. So I was upset that a friend, I thought was really close sister of mine in recovery, ghosted me, okay? With no explanation. I was upset with the no explanation. Nothing. But I heard she was talking to other people. So I took it really harsh. Like, I didn't realize, by the way, she's back in my life, but it took a year. So it was still heavy in my heart. Like, of course, I did my steps. I processed it. And, of course, I felt nothing but love for her. But it still hurt. So stating that, and my answer to, well, what would it look like if my higher power came in on this? I said my higher power would say, Bridge, it's not you, okay? It's not you. Give her time. And things happen, if it's meant that she's supposed to be back in your life, that will happen, right? And at that point, you can have that conversation. But stop calling her. Stop messaging her. Stop talking to people about her, Like, you're hurt. It's okay to be hurt. But, this has happened for a reason. And I don't know the reason yet, but I will if it's meant to be. And then for me to answer the second question, what can I do for service to right this wrong right now? So I was like, I'm going to call all my spotsies. Just check in on them. Send them a text. See how they're doing. And oh my God, it was like weight lifted. And it was amazing. So anybody, any situation I think can apply. You can ask yourself, because what do we always say in the program? To get out of yourself, to get out of your shit, to be more humble, do something for somebody else. Yeah. Right? Okay. Other key things. The alarm's about to go off. Oh! Okay, hold on. Let's see. Facebook user says, I have been so dry all weekend. And I have been so dry all weekend. I wonder if they mean dry because of the weather, or they mean sober, or that could be go ahead and clarify that. Oh, do you like it?
Everybody dance.
And if you think you are standing strong, be careful not to fall. Ooh, that's a good one. So, Jason, anything you want to... I'm going to play this amazing clip because we're going to talk about the dry drunkenness, the ignorance, like people that... I'm not perfect, Jason. I have to do the 10. And, I know I'm overwhelmed if I didn't do my 10 at night. Then I know I'm really in trouble. You're right. So any other things you would like to point out on step 10? Or daily inventory? Like, how do you do yours? Like, how do you do 10?
Well, I usually do a nightly review, but really during the day, I just make sure that that I'm using what I know are the good, useful tools, and trying to catch myself, and especially to be able to put myself in somebody else's position when I'm judging and stuff, which I'm terrible with. And when I get angry, it's like, well, how can you know what that person is going through, or blah blah blah. I need to put myself in somebody else's shoes, and always remember that we don't just say the Serenity Prayer because they're neat words.
Right.
But if you think about it, it's like it's got everything in it that we need. So I don't know. It's super powerful, and the way that I do this is that when I know that it says, and when we're wrong, promptly admitted it. Well, ego, I try not to let play in so much. Deliver us from ego is my thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and you're talking about the ignorance thing, well, people will say they know something just because they don't want to look like a fool. But when we're mature, we're okay with not knowing. We're okay with not having every answer because we need to learn. And it's the people that think they know everything that are just not willing to learn. That's my phone.
Oh, Jesus, it scared me. Okay,
that's it, though.
Silent there. Okay, well, this is a good time to play the clip. And, so this actually just happened on social media the other night. I ended up, so many people were having so many opinions on medically, just go put that in the other room or something. Medical, that phone scared me. This creepy person running around the building right now. Medically assisted treatment, right? Medical assisted treatment. MAT, okay, harm reduction. So many people that are anti-whatever. However, a lot of people that were running their mouth about it, they're talking about, I know this person who's been on it for 10 years or 20 years. Those methods, first of all, are much different than they were even a year ago, by the way. And also, again, they're all hypocrites because we all know every single one of us has came from different journeys, different paths, different childhood, different traumas. So who is anyone to judge anyone on what works for them and what doesn't work for them, okay? You don't know their medical history. You don't know their family history. You don't know what they've been through. And to sit here and say, like, that's messed up that they're still like putting that. This was my experience, so like they need to get their shit together. So whatever, like just because whatever happened to you, that doesn't mean that's gonna happen to me. Yeah. And I could definitely say what worked for me or what didn't work for me or whatever. But the person that they were like, whoever this random picture of this nice looking lady was, talking shit, didn't even know anything. But really, what bothered me is the comments of showing how ignorant they were. Okay. Because you're going to love this clip. I like to admit when I'm ignorant. Especially, like, I don't even remember what it was today, but I'm like, man, I don't know much about that. I feel stupid, like in my head. I'm talking to myself bad. I feel dumb on this. Like, I don't even know about this, and it makes me feel insecure and not confident. So, challenge accepted. That means I need to get more knowledge on this so I can feel better about it for myself. But here, this guy is fantastic. So, I think he was autistic. He's autistic. Okay, and so first of all, like if you get a chance, it's a TED Talk, listen to the whole thing. This guy, you would not even guess, but he really. So when ignorance, the videos or the TED Talk's called "When Ignorance Becomes Awareness." Okay, so we all heard when ignorance is bliss. Let me tell you, for the news stuff, certain ignorance I like. Okay, I don't need to know social media. I don't need to know the news, but there's definitely a line, and there's a point when. You have no reason to be racist, okay? You have no real reason to continue to sit there and judge other people because of they're on assistance, okay? Let me tell you, I got all kinds of things. But if you like, for me, feeling uncomfortable about something that I don't know or I got called out on, that just inspires me to go learn more about it. Okay, here we go. So on YouTube, TEDx talks, this one's at UCLA, When Ignorance Becomes Awareness. Russell Lehman? Okay.
back of the room to the front of the room? How did I go from being inpatient to presenting alongside doctors from Stanford to Cambridge to King's College London? How did I go from dropping out of the public school system to now educating school systems on inclusive practices? My life is a living contradiction. How did this happen, right? How did I go from all that has been to what is now? Well, let's consider this. What if being aware of what we do not know is the first step we take on the path to what's possible? Was Hegel onto something? Could it actually be wise to not know? To become more aware due to our ignorance? What others thought I was and what I thought I was wasn't all that I was. So what if those who think they know don't know, and those who know that they don't know actually know? Could this be the difference between ignorance and arrogance? Arrogance, the word itself, has a core Latin meaning of to presume, and arrogance can hinder personal growth due to its effect of closing the lid of the mind. And this can result in the creation of stigmas, stereotypes, and biases. But ignorance? Well, I am ignorant. You are ignorant. We are all ignorant to some extent. Nobody knows everything. But what if we were aware of this ignorance? When we become aware of our ignorance, we free up space in our mind to learn. And when we can be aware of our ignorance, we know that there's much more to learn. Hegel's logic deems self-contradiction legitimate and necessary. Awareness may very well stem from being ignorant, just as the sun cannot rise without having first disappeared in the sky the night before. So what if we all knew that we didn't know? And we're aware that even though we know that we don't know, we'll never know what we don't know until we know.
Okay, he's funny. He's actually pretty funny. Okay, what did you think of that? Because for me, if I had to pick one word for step 10, it would be awareness. Right? This daily check is awareness, especially during the day. And when I reflect on the day, sometimes I react, Jason. I'm human. It's not often, but you will get a reaction out of me sometimes. But that awareness piece. And so being able to catch myself, especially physically, I can feel myself getting upset or really emotional when it's not a good time or place, especially to respond to somebody's whatever they just said. Step 10 allows me to say, I'm going to pause and I'll get back to you on this. You know, like it's helped me go from react, just like want to just make a point, to I'd make more of a point to later respond when I've processed it in a loving way, in a loving manner. So what do you think? Oh, go ahead. We got more comments. Really good ones.
Do you want to do the comments?
No, go ahead. Anything on that clip that stood out?
Well, I'm a huge believer in, like, he talks about Hegel and thing about, for me, I love a friend of mine said, I'm forced to contradict myself so I don't conform to my own opinions, you know. And I think that's great because we're ignorant of so much, and we form these really strong opinions about things that we really don't know entirely everything about. Everything's not black and white. But when I think of step 10, I think of honesty and open-mindedness, because when I'm taking a personal inventory, I got to be honest about what my be honest about what my character defects are. Because if I am ignorant enough to think that they're not working against me, then how am I gonna, take a true inventory of myself? I have to be honest of what I've noticed my flaws are, and to not be, I think the arrogance part of that is huge, because some people just never want to be wrong or want to know everything, and that you can't know everything, like he said in that clip. And people will say they know something when they really don't, just so they don't appear foolish. Mm-hmm. But how are you going to learn if you think you know everything? It's like my 11-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like, you better move out now that you know everything. But yeah, to
That's
me,
my 11-year-old.
yeah, and like to me, honesty is a big part of that 10-step thing, and that's why they go in order. You know, you have to identify the flaw, work on it, and then keep doing it. But anyway, okay.
That's perfect. And what you just said there made me think of. So I did comment on this stupid post, and nobody really said anything back, which was great. But I just said recovery's not linear, okay? And here's what is interesting. We've been explaining the difference. Well, in my different groups, the difference between sympathy and empathy. But there's this great TED Talk that explained you really can't be truly like all the way empathetic, because the fact is nobody can really walk in someone else's shoes. That's the reality. So you really can't ever, so you're really never in a place to judge anybody. But also I said, there was a quote that said, we don't believe in something because it's true. We believe it's true, or it's true to us because we believe it, right? Again, knowledge is power. So the comments, I love these. Okay, Risha's hilarious. She says, I've been a dry drunk all weekend. This is Risha, but she meant her attitude has been horrible. Poor Ava. That's her little one. Another Facebook user said, his love for us is reaffirmed every time we rely on it. Martin, we no longer have to hide in shame every time we slip. Yes. And we can admit our wrongs and be able to move on 100%. And nothing is linear. That is very true. You know what's interesting, Jason? I was taking a psychology class at St. Cloud recently, okay? It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Oh, no, far from it. In fact, it just gave me more questions and more pissed off. There's no answers. Here's the funny part. It goes, so even, you should always make calls on things that are evidence-based and facts. Then it later read, but facts actually aren't really facts. Because they always end up getting either proven wrong or differently. So your facts aren't necessarily facts. They might be facts to you in that moment, but you might not know something somebody else knows. So facts are, I was like, what? I rely on facts. There's so much garbage out there. It's funny though. So step 10 to me is a reminder that this program is a lifelong process. Being honest with this. Yes, and it's not even like a process. It's more this beautiful opportunity to just be that loving, compassionate, happy, like I picture a Zen like Buddhist, just someone who's always you're never gonna deter them from their balance, their wisdom. And so if someone's throwing you off from your happy, joyous self or something or whatever, it's because I'm allowing that, right? And that means I need to dig in deeper and reflect more and take more time to do that.
Yeah, and I think, or can I?
Oh, of course.
So, the ultimate goal of Alcoholics Anonymous, really, in my experience, and I don't know, I think this is very true, but the ultimate goal is not only to have you become selfless and recover in such a way that you're whole. The only way you keep that, though, is to be helpful to other people. And I think that's the ultimate goal of being human. Yeah. But that's a big part of this program. And really the ultimate thing is to be helpful and good for other people and be there for them. And step 10 is very important in that, because, first of all, you got to know what you do wrong before you can help somebody else, or, Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
You know what time it is. I love my little fire sound effect. It's so reliable now. It even shows the fire flame. See that? Scary. Okay, we'll zip through these questions. Now, here's the funny part. As I was writing them, I started premeditating, and you're not supposed to do this, by the way. DBT teaches me not to premeditate. I already premeditated your answers. Yes. So what I would like to ask you to do up front, okay, it's a hot seat time, Jason. Let's try not to be general. Okay. Try not to be vague. Try to take your time. Try to be as specific as you can about person, place, or thing. Just something so that anyone listening, A, sees that you're willing to be vulnerable, but also can take like a clear example and maybe connect with. Okay, if you try it, but again, no pressure. Okay,
no pressure.
Just a little pressure. Nice. That's a hot seat. Okay, and of course, I'll try to answer too if if we have time. Question number 1, Jason. You're out of the hot seat. So, what are flags? What would you say are flags? Awareness flags, red flags, whatever, that you can feel, or something in your head says, what are flags to you right away that you're feeling that you're wrong? Like you're wrong, you're being wronged. Like somebody's wrong, they're calling you out, you get upset. Like, what are some flags right away? This is like what they call spot check, right? Step 10 is spot check. Spot checking yourself. What are some of those flags you're like, uh-oh, I might need to step back or step away from this? What could you think of something?
As far as like that I know that I'm wrong about something?
Or you know they're wrong, but they're coming at you, but they ain't hearing you. So within yourself, what are some flags like, ooh, I'm about to like snap, I'm about to react. What happens? What do you think?
Oh, man.
It's called spot check in step 10.
Well, you know how they say expectations are like premeditated resentments.
Yes.
Oh, man. I don't know. I could go on and on about that.
I say resentments are premeditated expectations. Like I'm already
It could be either
expecting
way.
something. Yes, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't help but, want people to want better for themselves or...
Well, I mean, specific flags are you talking about?
Yeah, like
okay.
inside of you, like what happens? What do you start yelling? Like, do you start getting angry? Do you start getting emotional? Like, what's something you start saying in your head, or maybe that comes up when you know you gotta spot check yourself?
Myself or them?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I don't know. When a lot of times it's when somebody does something that I hate about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, when somebody's making a judgment on something that they don't know very much about, that they're ignorant about.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that myself before, and things are not black and white. So that, a big flag to me is when people start throwing out judgment on everybody in huge, swaths of stereotyping, which, stereotypes actually, I mean, there's a reason why they're there, but that kind of thing, I don't know. I think that's a flag. I'm not sure how to put that, but
But like, say you're in a moment. This is that spot check on step 10.
yeah.
Like, when can you tell you need to like spot check yourself? Like, when can you tell that you're triggered to like fight somebody?
Oh man.
Do you start
Well,
yelling?
just when I start yelling,
Cussing?
flipping people off, and
Yeah.
I'm probably the guy that's gonna get shot because, when people almost kill my family in the car because they're in such a hurry to
Road rage, yeah.
get one car ahead of me. I let them know.
You see red.
Yeah, and I do, and that's bad. It's a bad place to be, but they're renting space in my head. I don't want them to have that power on me, but I do that a lot. Mm-hmm. That does happen, and I catch. It gets better all the time, but still, nobody's perfect, and I work on it. I know I can identify what I do wrong, and I think being called out on it can be helpful, especially when I'm being judgmental of people, Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's pretty plain that, well, they're doing something very wrong. It's not, oh, well, you can't be in their shoes. No, I'm sorry, you don't throw your garbage out the fucking window onto the street. No, that's not cool. Mm-hmm. And, oh, you don't know where they're coming from. I do too.
There's no reason.
Yeah. You
Unless
don't
fire
fucking
and
litter.
You see a flaming ball of paper going all like, I get
Yeah.
that.
But no, I mean, the flags are when my heart's racing and
Yes, okay.
I see red.
Yes. Okay. And I would say, too, the reason I thought of that, so last night, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's what happens for me. And that's what was happening. They were judging somebody else, okay? And I don't know this person. And I'm sure that this person hopefully never sees this post, but I immediately felt, in my stomach, sick to my stomach. Like, ooh, it was welling up, right? And I felt myself getting heated up, right? Physically, like, hot, right? And I immediately started writing a paragraph, Jason. The things that I preach to people, like, I don't want the paragraphs. Let's have a conversation, right? Yeah. So I took a minute. I stepped outside, okay? So if you have that phone where it shows you the 3 dots they're writing, I hope nobody was watching, but my 3 dots were going for a good half hour. Because I really had to pause. And I really had to say, now I want to put this out in a loving, intentional manner, right? Yes, I'm standing up for a group of people, but again, who am I standing up to, right? These are all people that have commented that don't see my side or the other side of it, right?
Yeah.
So I calmed down. I deleted a lot of things that I originally was going to post.
Yeah.
Made it statements, but also posted the things that, aligned with how I've been living my life. And not to preach or anything, but like I posted videos that I found very knowledgeable and changed my view. Because I'm sorry, abstinence is not feasible this day and age, okay? Like a lot of people want to punish a person into abstinence, but actually nowadays they're realizing that's very physically dangerous a lot of times. And B, that's very mentally and emotionally dangerous too. So there's other methods, and unless you're their fucking doctor or their psychiatrist or their therapist, get off your fucking pedestal. Humble your ass down, okay? And then, then go ahead, then I'll hear your 2 cents. But here's the last piece. Before I hit post or send, I said, would I stand by this and say this again, have a conversation with anybody at all about what I just backed up and said? Yes. So that was okay. Question number 2, and this is going to be great now. Going off of question number 1, Jason, you're going to love this. Question number 2, Jason, when were you not wrong? Okay, you weren't wrong. You weren't in the wrong. What did you do to make it right for you? So, this is that step 10 workshop thing, right? Question number 1. Actually, it's regardless who's right or wrong. But let's say you weren't the one wrong. Somebody wronged you, okay? Try to be, if you could think of a specific example, or maybe somebody you've mentored. You realize you're not going to get a solution in this moment, or maybe even ever. Yeah. So what did you do then to at least make it right for you? This is a good question.
Well, it's still not right with me, but so here's a specific one. I had my best friend who died. I dated, his sister for a long time, and we became, we stayed really good friends. So years ago, and so this is probably 9 years ago, we went down to see my sick dad, and we went to Arizona, and we stayed with my ex-girlfriend and her husband, who were my very good friends. They invited us to stay at their house, me and 2 of my boys, and 3 of my boys, because Neil was 2 years old or whatever. And we stayed at their house, and we had Christmas with them and everything. And, oh man, all of a sudden, we didn't really have anywhere to go either. We didn't have any money or anything. But one day, my ex one morning says, hey, my husband wants you guys to leave. And we didn't know why. And so we left, and we had to stay at my mom's little tiny apartment, all of us together on the floor in there. And I never, for years, I tried to reach out, and they would never, ever respond. So I let it go. Sometimes we just have to accept these things. Mm-hmm. Well, we were just in Arizona again, and I reached out again, and I actually found her phone number and called while we were down there. And she responded, I'm like, hey, I thought our friendship was worth some, trying this one more time. And she's like, how dare you reach out? And I'm like, what? Please tell me what we did wrong.
What happened? Yeah.
We don't know. And it's just the weirdest thing. So I have to accept that I'm not just, there's the serenity prayer again. Yeah. Accept the things we cannot change. The courage to change the things we can. Well, the things we can change are only us. Mm-hmm. There's nothing out there that you're going to go change, really. Mm-hmm. A tire, maybe, but you're doing it. Yeah. But, that is hard. That's a specific one right there. And it's hurtful, very hurtful, but that's life, man. And this program has taught me how to, live life on life's terms, because, oh man, there's so many examples like the one I just gave where it's like, you just gotta let it go, but it still tortures me. It's like, holy what the hell do we do? Right. You know, I just don't know. But anyway, there we go.
Okay, and that's a beautiful example. Okay, and that's where that workshop was helpful because I wanted to keep getting it in. I wanted somebody to go talk to her. I wanted somebody to get an answer because really, I just at the end of the day, I wanted to know what I did wrong so I could fix it. But that workshop helped me realize my higher power is writing it in a way that I don't understand right now. Okay, and so I think that you will get an answer, or however it's going to be. I tell you, there's suspicious stuff going on in your story there. I'll tell you right now, it's between them, and it's sad when people can't just acknowledge the truth. Sounds like they're still living a lie. I don't know. I'm making judgments, but here's the thing. I just want to say real quick is that what I do is what I call is my due diligence. Okay, I do the due diligence to the point where I did really know in my heart and soul, did what I could do to the best of my ability. I meant it from my heart to right that wrong, and that I felt solid and good with that. That's it. And then I can really let it go, you know? And then that's how I can, it's not going to right the whatever wrong, but I'm not going to live in the past. It's just going to kill me. Mm-hmm. So sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I think a point of a big change in me would be that one of these. So I'm a good listener, but I have this gift of being very hurtful if I want to be. And I used to just blur it out right away. And you can't take back the things you say. Mm. And I felt like just, sending some nasty text that would have really hurt. But I didn't, so that's how I've changed anyway. All right.
Yes, me too. That's why I did not. I just took a break.
Yeah.
Let the 3 dots go. And really put myself play that tape forward. Okay, last question. Okay, Jason, hot seat, last question. What's the biggest thing that you did to wrong somebody else? Quick answer. You don't have to explain the whole story, but what would you say was something you did, you wronged it, and I would hope now, at least today, you can say that you processed that. I don't know. What I could tell you lots of things I did wrong. I don't know. So whatever comes to your mind.
I don't know. Do I really answer that one?
Be mindful. What's a
No.
good example that you were definitely in the wrong, but maybe you couldn't see it for a while, but maybe now you see that okay, I was definitely wrong. I saw my part. My size.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna use this as an example because it changed my life really. But I'm not gonna use something where I did. I've done a bunch of wrong things. I mean, I'm not a criminal or nothing, but there's so my judginess, right? So long time ago when I came down to Fridley, and this is before even this last time around, but I came in to a meeting, and I'm like, this guy rolls in, he's just stinking, his eyes are super red, he looks like he just rolled out of the gutter, and I'm like, what the fuck does this clown have to say that would be anything that I could, get anything from, and I'm kind of rolling my eyes. When he started talking, within a minute, I knew how wrong I was. And I almost was crying, and then I looked at myself, and I'm like, I just came from work. My eyes are all red because of the kind of work I do. I stink, because I'm always, working outside. And it turns out this guy, we're very good friends now, but man, he had a fountain of wisdom. And I learned, it just moved me, and it was insane, and I was so wrong. And I felt very ashamed. And that's changed how I approach people big time. A lot. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's probably one of the best examples I know.
That's a really good one. Yes, and how many times do we judge a book by its cover?
Yeah.
But that is human instincts, right? For many reasons. But okay, great. All right, let's get into it. Look at that. See how time flies? It's already 10:02. Okay, so we're going to get into my favorite time. Listeners, I hope it's your favorite time. This is a fun time. Meme time. Live Facebook memes. Is this your favorite time too?
That's fun.
It's like a great post hot seat segment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lighten things up a little.
That's good.
And now what I'm going to do for you, Jason, because I'm blind too. I keep forgetting my glasses,
Yeah.
but I don't wear them unless I have to driving at night. And now I realize it's night. It's night coming driving here now.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. Okay. So I'm going to flash them right here for you and I to look at together. Now, my memory is squirrel, okay? So I don't always remember exactly why I picked certain ones, but they'll come to me right at we'll be in this with you. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So feel free to comment. I'm going to pull them up so listeners can see. But again, some listeners are like you. They have an ancient prehistoric phone, Jason, and they can't see. There's no visuals. So feel free to somewhat describe the picture. Meme number 1, Jason.
All right. So there's this freaky looking guy with buck teeth. He's holding up a little pyramid. He looks like kind of a hippie
For the
mustache.
70s.
Yeah, total 70s dude. And it says,
Smiling.
yeah, he's smiling. And it says, you'll calm down and become less weird in sobriety. Me in sobriety. And it's the picture of this guy that I just described.
Weird.
And he's like, whoa. You'll calm down and become less weird in sobriety. I don't know if you become less weird.
Oh, I
think
don't think so.
I think sometimes I become weirder.
Let your weird flag fly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fly it.
Here's the best part, Jason. I have that little pyramid thing. I have one. I just got it for protection. Okay? So I told you, this is me, Jason. I was a person I always had the hoodies on. I never look at nobody. I kept to myself. And now I'm all way too much sometimes for people. I'm smiling at you. I'm hugging people I don't even know. They're just like, what is this weirdo? Get off of me.
Yes.
Why'd you? I get so many times people are like, did you just say I love you? Like, why are you saying I love you? It's
Yeah.
so weird.
No.
But it's in good spirits, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Meme number 2. Lots of reading.
Okay.
Oh,
Should
so
I
it's a good
describe the picture
Yes, describe
first?
the picture. I still see this.
Okay.
At
So
a store.
they're at the cashier and they got that stupid freaking piece of plexiglass between you and the person. And it says, Dear Plexiglass, thank you for protecting me from the cashier who just touched every single item I'll be taking home with me.
Yes.
And it says, this period in history will be known as the dumb
The
ages.
dumb ages.
So true.
The dumb ass ages.
Yeah.
Yes. And especially like what was I think it was Target. I don't remember. One of the stores. Yes, it's groceries. I'm buying groceries. They're touching everything. I'm fucking. What's the point of this? It's annoying the plexiglass because we have to reach around it to
Yeah.
get my change and stuff. And I'm like, again, you're handling money.
Oh, yeah.
This is the dumb ages.
Mhm.
This whole thing. Okay, move on. People get defensive
True.
on this subject.
Yeah.
People are still wearing masks outside, Jason.
No, I know.
Oh God. Okay, here we
Yes.
go. I can't help those people. Really
Can't
tiny.
help it.
It's a quote.
Oh, one of my favorite authors, too. It says, I sat with my anger long enough until she told me her real name was Grief.
Ooh.
That's from C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
Man, that is freaking awesome.
Grief.
I sat with my anger long enough until she told me her real name was Grief.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's great.
It's beautiful. And anger is one of the 7 stages of grief. But anger is also a bodyguard for sadness
Oh, yeah.
and fear.
Well, and a lot of those things for me come from a point of pride, which is not cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Cool, I like that.
I have no prides. That's okay.
Yes, you do. You're a Leo.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I got some of my pride got split with my twin brother. Seriously, I don't know. Okay, anyway. Meme number 4. You know this movie. The movies, right? Okay, read that top clip. They're laughing. The gangsters. What does it say?
See, this is like one of those shows I don't want. I never
Oh,
watch
it's
it.
this mafia
And
gangsters.
it says, yeah, it's all these gangsters.
the
There's
top.
one frame at the top, and it says, when addicts make fun of each other,
They're laughing, have a good
and
time.
they're all laughing, and yeah. And then below it is a bunch of serious mobsters in a row, and it says, when a normal person tries to crack a joke about addiction, and they're all just like serious.
We're
and
gonna
looking at
murder
you
your
like,
ass.
We're gonna cap
dude.
your ass.
It's like I don't know for you. I don't know about you, but this is for real. Like definitely my life. Like we could be open and in recovery in our meetings and stuff. We could talk about stuff to an extent, though. That last night was not a good example. Okay, but they weren't just making. They were actually attacking. The original poster was just kind of making light of it. Everybody else got their whatever. But the truth is, too, yeah, you adore me, or I don't know you in recovery. You're not an ally, like a clarified ally, and you're talking shit. Ooh, I'm listening. I might not even be looking at you. I'm listening to everything you say. You better watch it, because I very much like you. There was a speaker this year at Go for State, right? I can't remember the exact word she used, but she said her tongue was like something like deadly. I can't remember it was a beautiful term, but she was right. Like that to me also was a big thing is like, yeah, I'm a good listener. But like my tongue is like a sword. Like if I wanted to, like I could crush your soul. You know, I know everything and anything about you. I know what makes you hurt. I know what your insecurities are. But, you know, I'm such in a good place now. Like I would never go there. Like I have no desire to ever go there. But I know in situations they're coming at me with all this silly stuffs. And I just have to think, pause. This is really about them. I am not even going to sink to that level and defend myself. But trust me, if I wanted to, woo! I know everything and anything about you. I didn't even need to know. Okay. No. Next meme. Albert Einstein quote.
It says, stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. Nice. Albert Einstein.
Negative Nancy's.
Yes.
Oh, I call them dark cloud people. And sometimes, you know, you have a bad day. It's okay, right? However, there's those people that no matter what comes out of my mouth, they have a negative response. They have, this is why it ain't going to work. Oh, did you think about this? No, I heard this other thing. Oh, I can't say that. It drives me insane. It's like, it's really, I think, ego. They're just instant, like they have this debative, defensive personality. So it doesn't, oh my God, I can catch it right away, especially when I get to know people. That's like, their go-to is they want to argue with you no matter what. Even if they actually agree with you, which I'll find out later, like, oh, so you actually do agree with what I said, but you picked one little piece out, you read it about it because you know everything, right?
Oh, yeah. But, man, I'm guilty of being negative around the people I love because when I'm working, I'm around other people. I'm the positive guy. I always upbeat, hey, we're going to get through this, blah, blah, blah. But, man, I got to vent sometimes because there's a lot of frustrations every day. And so I'll vent to the people that I love, and then they think I'm a negative person.
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm really not.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. But that's the reality. It's a good idea to go to a meeting or go to, I have a therapist, or just go somewhere and dump it on somebody else. Let me tell you, me 2 years ago, that was me. Or put it in a journal, whatever, scream out the window. But for me, I definitely would say that, I'll send you this great video. This woman was talking about it's scientifically proven. So like my kids, right? A lot of times I just have snacks ready. I know because they come back a lot of home. They're tired. They're angry. They blow up on me. I might even just said, oh, hey, can you make sure you take your shoes off? Why are you always blah, blah, blah? They're yelling at me. Okay, but scientifically proven. Here's what happens is, especially in children, but I think it applies to adults too, that we go all day and we got to put up this front, this face. We want to be, we have to be like considerate, or like kids, they got to answer all the questions. They got to be at their best behavior. But when they come home, guess what? I'm their safe person, Jason. Mm-hmm. They can unwind. They can let go of that face, that they got to keep at school all the freaking day. So I'm that one they unload on. And here's what happens. I don't take it personally. After they eat, decompress, then they're back to their not demon children anymore. But, just that awareness piece. But yes, I do guarantee I've had some jobs where I had to let go of those jobs because it was really, I was taking that shit home and keeping it at home. And then it was really my relationships with my kiddos or people that are important to me. Yeah. Okay. We're halfway through. Oh, I love this one. Go ahead and read it. It's Chevy Chase, but nobody knows who that is anymore. They
don't know who Chevy Chase is anyway. Watch National Lampoon's Vacation.
Looks a little, what would you say?
Yeah, he's got that look on his face like, yeah, about that. But it says, me after 5 minutes of talking with people. And it says, okay, that's enough of that. That can be about it sometimes, too. Yeah. And especially, most people are only listening to you and thinking about, they're waiting for you to stop talking so they can tell you about. In fact, they don't even let you stop talking. they start talking right over you about, oh, me, 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 me. They got beaker syndrome, I call it. Me, 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 from the Muppets. And, yeah, that gets old real quick. And I'm sick of small talk and shit with some people because it's like even people that I really love sometimes are very selfish sometimes. And it's like, I've even had traumatic things happen. And it's like, hey, I need to talk about some. Oh, well, me, 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 me. And then it's off to the races for 20 minutes of me listening to their whatever. But that starts wearing me down.
Well, and absolutely. And then after they're done spewing, they'll be like, oh, wait, what were you saying? And I always, here's what happens. I always go, oh, never mind. It wasn't that important.
It wasn't that important.
I give them a look, though, and I'm like, I just shut down. Like, just forget it. You know what you just did. Okay. Moving on. Next. Oh, it's a carrot. The guy dressed in a carrot suit. What does it say?
Guy in a carrot suit that says, I'm an alcoholic and an addict. I'm a carrot and a vegetable.
Yes. Okay, you know what's so great is that when I started finally being able to, like, I just thought NA people, Narcotics Anonymous people, would not accept me, right? Because I spent so much time in AA. I thought they won't that. I don't know. I just know there are some silliness of you're this or that. It goes both ways, by the way. So I stayed away because I didn't want anybody, to kick me out. Anyway, so finally I started going and I realized I actually more aligned with the fact that label, this is why I don't even label myself anymore. But here's the fact. It says, one of the things in that program says, alcohol is a drug. Okay? So if alcohol is your only drug, guess what? You get to be here. I was like, oh, okay. No, alcohol's never been my only drug. Yeah. But I definitely feel like that was my main one. And so, but yeah, there's so many people that they want to label you this or that. But guess what? Alcoholism is an addiction, right? So that means you're also an addict. That means stop talking shit about people in NA. Because guess what? We're all a fan. We're all related. We're all correlated. Yeah. This or that. Okay. Try to zip through before your noisy phone goes off again. This one's cute. It's a kitty looking crazy. Scared.
It says, okay, there's this little kitten, and his eyes are all bulged out, funny looking. Yeah. It says, fellowship, don't drink no matter what. Big book, you're going to drink no matter what. Newcomer, and it's this picture of this cat with his eyes bulged out. Oh. And I've felt that way before.
Mm-hmm. Especially reading the book by yourself, which I tried to do for so long. That's why it's very important to have somebody you trust, sharing partner. Because, yes, any person can literally pick out a sentence and spew out their perception of it, but that doesn't necessarily make it fact, right? No. And so for me, this was me, okay? Not that I'm not like blaming perfectionism or OCD or any of that, but me, thoroughly, like me, I just have really high expectations for myself, right? I want to do everything thoroughly. For me, it's about quality over quantity. Anything worth doing, to me, is worth doing well. Because for me, in my shitty-ass childhood, nothing I did mattered. Nothing I did ever was valued. So within myself, to try to value myself, which I later found out I was just trying to seek a validation from other people, but I do it to the best of my ability because I that's my sense of worthiness, right? So the big book, oh my God, I was beating my head over I beat the book over my head for many years because I'm trying to do it thoroughly. I'm trying to do it specifically how this person or that person said about this or that, until I sat down with one person, until I actually went through back to basics. Then I could simplify and keep the shit simple. Stupid. Yeah. So poor newcomers. And that's why I like to do this podcast too, because it kind of, it aligns with everything, but it's also like, here's other ways to see it. But what's most important is this might be another way, this might be another way. Whatever like aligns with you. Like for me, if I'm like, aha, they call it the aha moment. Ooh, yeah, that makes sense. The way that was just said or how I read that, that's you. That's how you connect.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is all the answers are in that book, but you reading it to yourself isn't going to help much because it's like Bridge said, we put our own perceptions and biases and cultural biases, social biases, all into what we're reading. And the thing is when you read it with other people, that's why I love big book study and those things. But when you get other perspectives of this, then those aha moments start happening because Yeah, they just do. And you can read that book, and I've been through it many times, and then come back and get a whole different take on it the next time. It's amazing because you're growing, you know. It's a beautiful thing, but yeah, I've been there where it's like, holy shit, what's going on here?
Yeah.
The cat.
How about the ego thing? I don't. That word sounds so much better than evil, right? But yes, and then when you're in those groups, right? Especially if you're aha, now they also have you get an aha, like you grow the ahas together. Like they took it to that next level of awesomeness. That's even better, right? And that's again going into that like. So here's the thing. When you're working with someone and you're going through, here's what I do now. Because I used to never question anybody's shit. I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't want to make them feel stupid. I didn't want to look stupid. I encourage people, especially that I'm working with, through if you have any questions or if you don't agree, I want to know. Please tell me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I like feeling dumb because I know that's an opportunity to educate myself, you know? And I like getting new perceptions. And I don't remember what somebody was just saying. It's some new word. I didn't even know what it meant. So I let him finish the sentence. Okay, but then my squirrel mind was like, okay, now wait, what did you mean by that word? I don't know what that means. They're like, oh, let me back up, you know?
Yeah.
They didn't say, oh, you're stupid, Bridge. You didn't know what that meant.
Dumbass.
Okay, last and final meme of the night, Jason. Ooh, just words.
Okay, it says, don't feel bad for outgrowing people. They had the choice to grow too, and they didn't. And that's kind of true, but, you know, some people just, I don't know.
I guess
I gotta not judge.
Outgrowing. Like, what would you say? So don't feel bad for outgrowing people. So what do you mean? Would you say kinda? Like, how do you perceive that?
Well, you know, because I can't judge my friends. I love them. I've outgrown them. They're steeped and deep in their addiction and alcoholism. And it says they had the choice to grow too, and they didn't. And maybe they did, but man, I'll tell you what, it took a lot to get me in here. And I just feel grateful that I made it.
Yeah.
So hopefully the ones that haven't killed themselves or drank themselves to death or OD'd, hopefully they make the choice to come in here one day. But yeah.
Well, and okay, so this is a perfect example. I like that you pointed that out because I didn't think about it like that. So yeah, so it's like, don't feel bad for outgrowing people. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing is like, I wouldn't say I feel sorry for them, and I wouldn't say that I feel bad for them because you're right, they still have that choice. But there's certain people, if they're those dark cloud people, every fucking day in your life, or maybe you're in a relationship with them and they're really bringing your energy down, they're bringing your light down, they're making you very sad all the time or most of the time you hang out with them. Like, I don't feel bad for not hanging out with them as much anymore or completely having to take a pause on that, you know? Like, I don't feel bad about that. Yes, I hope that they'll find their way or whatever, or maybe they finally got the hint, like, there's a reason we don't hang out so much anymore. You know, but that window's always open. You know, like I'd love to have that conversation, but I have to stop beating myself up, okay? I always beat myself up because I don't want people to think I was mean. I didn't want people to think that I didn't care about them. But at the end of the day, it's that space in my head, right? Why am I wasting my thoughts on that shit for those people that don't even want to change or step up or I welcome everybody to come with me all the time. Most people find me annoying. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Stop. But, you know, I don't feel bad for that because why? I want to spend my energy and my love and my time on those people that want to keep growing and learning and healing and do things. And especially my children. If I'm giving all my energy to this person who's just hating life, judging everybody, dry drugism, whatever, talking shit, but they're not doing anything to like learn about that or make a difference. Like, Jason, the statistic, so I do the naloxone overdose trainings, right? It's every 7 minutes, a person's dying of fentanyl overdoses right now. It's really bad. Actually, just not this past weekend, weekend before, we lost 3 people in a weekend. One pill. That's how bad it was. So here's the reality. For me to keep from being depressed, I do these trainings, right? But I also educated myself. And the reality is this program written, you know, whatever, many years ago, there was no fentanyl, okay? There was none of this other stuff that's out there now. And also there wasn't technology like it is now. Our children, I can see it generationally, are growing up in a completely different world. Everything is full access, too much access, I think. So we can't expect them, anybody, this goes for every generation forward after us to learn and accept things as they are, as they worked for us, right? Because we grew up in different worlds. They grew up in a different world. But I think the fact that if we have a main common purpose, love is our code, right? And we can walk with them, ask questions, learn with them, like that's the only way we're going to really make a difference. And I feel like it's like they always tell me, plant that seed. I can't want recovery more for someone than they want for themselves. So I don't feel bad in the sense of like, I'm not hating on myself for moving on. But like they say, you change the people around you. You want to be with the people that have the same mindset, whatever that is. So if you like sitting on your couch, eating nachos every night, going to one meeting a week, and that's your life, you love that, you guys all hang out together, okay? But I'm not going to hang out with you.
No.
So, okay.
No, I mostly feel bad for those people, not for me. Because and my hand's always out there. Yeah, yes. My hand. I always want to help, and I've always been an example for them or whatever, or try to be. But yeah, and I'll help them when they're ready.
Right.
That's about it.
Yes. And see, that's the reality is we cannot afford to push people away anymore. Like if you're not going to do it this way, then you need to go somewhere else. If you're going to call yourself that, then you need to be in a different. We can't afford that now, Jason. People are dying. It's now it's like it makes me want to cry every 3 minutes. We're losing people. It's so sad. And I posted something that showed they're just a lot of them are just young people.
But also,
and they don't know.
Yeah. But you're saying that it's worse now. And actually there was lots of heroin and morphine addiction back then also.
Yeah.
We always tend to think, everything's so different now. No, things aren't as different as you think. There is all this technology and this and that, but life is safer now than it was for people back then.
Well, okay, and yes, fentanyl is very similar to heroin, but fentanyl is 100 times stronger. Well, and what's going on is, they're making a.
I'm not arguing that it's not more dangerous. I'm saying that our world now is a safer place than it was then, believe it or not.
I don't know. I know I'm losing people every week.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not arguing at all either. This is a conversation, Jason. We're having a conversation.
Yeah.
But the thing of what's sad is a lot of people don't even know what's in their stuff anymore. So, and there's a little conspiracy theory which I've been hearing from people that are out there on the streets right now is fentanyl is such a little trace. It's in marijuana. It's on benzos. They could, but if somebody wants to get rid of you, they go to that middleman. The middleman, the drug dealer, doesn't even know what they're giving out. They're doing their thing. They want to get rid of you, and it looks like an overdose or an accident, but it's a plot. It's intentional murder. But nobody can see that. Why? Because it's being hidden with the fentanyl. And now there's carfentanil, by the way. So, yes, and heroin, I was looking at where that was at. It's always kind of baselined because, heroin was kind of the go-to with. Are you familiar with Dope Sick? Oh, that was when the prescription, this whole opioid thing started back in like the 90s. Prescribing and overprescribing, right? That's where Steve Remler Hope Network comes in. So that's why the go-to was heroin. It was cheaper, and they've already been now addicted because of these prescription medications. And unfortunately, now where it's at is fentanyl is not only easier, cheaper. You only need a little bit. A lot of times what they're putting in these things, they're not doctors. They're not, prescribe. They don't know they don't know doses. So unfortunately, and everybody's body's different, they're whatever, making it so it's cheaper and quicker and whatever, and it's killing everybody. I didn't even know what it was until 2 years ago when somebody almost died. So, okay, final thoughts.
Scary.
No comments. Oh, Risha says she does know Chevy Chase.
All right.
Okay. So, yes. And I think that the biggest thing with recovery, or the 12 steps, like I said, is it's got to be your choice. Nobody can make you do it. And let me tell you, when I finally surrendered, I was definitely not happy about it. But I made a choice to do what I could, like really give it my all, even though I didn't think it was going to work. But I made the choice to show up, make those meetings, really invest myself in something that I found, luckily, of back to basics, and made it work for me. So, changing those words, especially if they've get you defensive or debative, whatever, and making it work for you. If you really want it, you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. That's a wrap. Let's do the inspirational music. All right, everybody. Have a good week. Have a good night. And I will catch you on the flip side. Where's my inspirational music? There it is. Okay. Returning home.